Hey, my name is Chad. This video we are going to test out my new barrel and see what we can come up with, but instead of just checking it at 100 yards, I'm all the way back here at 500 now. So if you've seen a couple of my videos, you know out here at the edge of my field I've got a PRS skill stage barricade wall thing that I built, and I've got some targets right down there, right about 500 yards, like 499, 498. And then I've got a couple other targets further down, but we're not really going to mess with those today. So what I was thinking, and if I get to moving around weird, or more weird than my usual moving around I should say, I didn't realize until I got out here that there seems to be a path of red ants right under my feet. So they're going back and forth right behind here, usually where I sit down or get down on my knees when I'm shooting through this stage. So we are racing the ants and the sun, but we're going to give this a try. So last night I came out and kind of adjusted my zero, got it set to the match alpha brass that I've been using. I don't think I'm going to tweak much on the loading for that, but I came out here, took a couple shots, had okay luck, and I got to thinking, okay, if that zero holds, why don't I check some other ammo that, you know, can still do well, but is not actually zero to my rifle. You know, on paper, it's a very small difference. I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to see down here on some steel plates if running different ammo that is zeroed differently than what I'm running, like how far is that going to be off? Like in a match, if I had to grab a box of factory for some reason, would I be able to even get a couple hits? Or am I just going to be totally out of luck? So we're going to try it with the ammo that I'm zeroed with. A couple from a different box. I've got 2 rounds of this Norma left from one box. And then the ammo that I had forgot about, some Bergers. These are 105 hybrid targets. And then the 108 Hornady match, which is the bullet that I'm using. But I'm loading it in alpha brass with H4350. And you know, running through all the specs myself instead of buying it in a box. So I don't know, I think this might be a little bit interesting. If nothing else, it will answer one question for me, and that's going to be whether or not I could even pull this off if I had to in a match situation. So I was planning to get down and do more kneeling shots since I'm more stable in that position, but those ants are just moving around right there, and I am very nervous about that. So did the big update on the Kestrel. I just noticed that, so got that updated today and hopefully reset everything. According to this, I need to be about 2.3 up, and with the wind reading that I took a minute ago, it's giving me 0.16 mil left. It's kind of died down a little bit, so I may just dial in 0.1 and then we'll kind of just see what happens, because I don't think it's going to be too much to make a major difference. So 2.3. And I think to start out, I'm going to take a couple shots with the ammo that I know I can get hits with, because this is what I zeroed with. Okay, since I'm going to lose the sun pretty soon, I'm just going to run 2 from here. And one of them is obviously going to be cold bore. So hopefully my camera will pick this up. But if not, I'll call out if I can see or hear them when they impact. And man, I'm standing right where these ants are running. This is really, really going to bug me. So I am not going to get into a super good position here, but I'm more concerned with ants running up my pants here. Okay. We'll just see what happens. So that hit a little bit right, or excuse me, a little bit left of where I'm aiming. My elevation's good on it. So that kind of tells me I can probably take out that 10th on the windage. Hopefully you heard that. But that was 2 impacts, so everything is, at least in theory, still hitting where it was before. All right, so this is going to be the Norma brass that is loaded with 107 CR Match Kings, and these are running way faster. So I think I'm going to move to one of my KYL targets, and we'll take a few shots, see what happens here. All right, let's go for the 10-inch, just to make it challenging. I don't know if you could hear that, but I got a hit on it. And another hit. Now, just looking through the scope at the plate, first hit was down here, and second was up at the higher side of the plate. That stuff, when I was shooting it for groups just to check the new barrel, it was kind of more spread out, but I mean, it hits the plate, which is all you really need in a PRS situation. So this is not, you know, F class where you're going for groups. So, I mean, emergency, you can probably start using this in the middle of a match and make like an adjustment in your Kestrel and compensate for it. This is the one I really don't know what's going to happen with these Bergers, because this was the one that I forgot to bring out the other day. So I have no idea what these are even capable of. So this one, I'm going to load 3. Figure give myself 1 to get an idea of what might happen, and then a few more that will actually call for score, even though we're not scoring anything. So I think now that the sun's getting down, the ants are not running around quite as much. See if we can get into a more normal position. All right, I think for this one, I'm gonna go for that bigger 12-inch. Hopefully you can hear that is a little bit lighter of an impact. These are a slightly lighter weight projectile, but I mean, it got hit on it. Got it again. Just for the fun of it, I'm gonna go for that smaller round plate. So these seem to be hitting a little bit low. Got it again. Oops, right into the ants. That's going to be fun. Okay, so for this one I've got 5 rounds loaded up of this Hornady match. So shooting the same projectile, but with Hornady brass with their large primers and whatever powder they use, which is much more inconsistent than when I drop my own powder. So we got a few minutes left before dark, so I want to try and run through a few more shots with these just to see kind of what happens. Let's just start with the 10. Give myself a bit of a challenge. Okay, so we're getting hits on it. Let's try the 8. Got him again. What about the 6? Got him a little high. I highly doubt we're going to have luck on the 4, but I say that and then I got him. What I can say, looking through the scope, is like I'm aiming across the middle line of all the plates, and I'll have like the first one hit kind of center, and then the next one was up high, and then down low, and then up high. So it's definitely walking around more, but it's at least holding tight enough a group that I'm getting hits, which in a PRS match that would score. And that's kind of what convinced me that I need to go ahead and change the barrel. I had several shots the last 3 matches with the old barrel that I felt like should have been hits, and they just were not. And I keep thinking that most of those are because I still am not very good at reading the wind. But after changing the barrel, I'm leaning more now towards it's very likely it was just throwing some flyers and they were starting to get more consistent. So let's see. I'm just going to go for that 4-inch one more time. I'm pretty sure this one will be a miss. Yep, that threw dirt. So holding the same aim point, especially on a 4-inch target at 500 yards. The size of a group that this would leave at a 100-yard target is really expanded out when you're getting out there, and just the size of a target is not going to keep working. Okay, just to kind of eliminate all possibilities, this is some brass that I am still running through and fire forming. I've got about 20 rounds left from my box number 3. So over the next 2 weekends I need to shoot through this. So I'm going to take a couple shots with this just to see kind of what happens. I need to get it just really formed to this chamber anyways. So if I miss, I'm not too worried about it. It should be loaded the same as what I started with. So let's see what we look like on that 6-inch. I'm hoping you're able to hear this, but I'm getting hits. Okay. So would this hit the 4-inch? Technically that one was a hit, but it barely moved it, so I just scraped the very bottom of it. Usually on that 4-inch it gets to swinging really good, and is barely moving, but I could see there was splash below it, so I hit the target, but just barely. That one's probably more to do with me and starting to breathe heavier. Hey, if you're the kind of person that gets an idea in your head and you just can't get it out until you come out to test it, go ahead and get subscribed right down below here. I've been wondering this for a little while now. If I had zeroed my scope to 1 ammo and something happened in the middle of a match, I usually try to keep a couple boxes of factory ammo in my truck just as a backup, or like some of my previously loaded Lapua, something. I usually have enough to run another match and something else. So I'm always curious if something actually did happen, would I be able to, make an adjustment on the fly? In theory, what I could do if I didn't have time to re-zero, or that wasn't allowed, I could take a couple shots and kind of have a throwaway stage and hopefully spot where my impacts are, and then just take my time and look at it, measure with my reticle, and then input that to my Kestrel as a offset, and then it will factor that in for all future stages. So it's doable. It would definitely not be ideal, but if it came to it, I could actually pull it off. I just won't get very many hits probably, but half the time that's me just being too wobbly and not knowing how to read the wind, so probably wouldn't be very much different than running my own ammo. Well, I think that might do it for this video. Put a good couple heat cycles on the barrel, put another 15 rounds through it. I'm really trying to keep the initial round count as low as I can. I know that the old rule of thumb is somewhere 150 to 200 rounds. It's probably going to speed up on me, so I'm trying to do as much initial testing, at least fire forming, as I can before I hit that point. And I'm planning to not load any higher powder charge to get my speeds up. I'm going to run it at the little bit slower speeds that I'm showing from my initial testing with my own loading, but I want to get my die set up for this new brass. I've got a couple pieces of brass from my old chamber. I'll now have some fired stuff from this new chamber in the brass that I'm going to be resizing, so I should be able to get my die set, and that's what I'm going to work on this next week. So stay tuned for that. We're getting the new Area 419 die all the way properly set for my match brass, and then we're going to do one pull and size and mandrel all in one step. I'm very excited about this. Let me know if you think of anything else that I should kind of test on the early stages of this new barrel. To me, I think with a good quality barrel and being chambered by a good quality operation, I don't think I need to go through as many of the normal steps for older barrels that have been out for, you know, the normal things that you hear forever and ever. I'm pretty sure I can skip through most of that, but I will keep an eye on it. Like I said, once I get closer to 150 and then up to 200 rounds, I'll definitely be watching my chrono speeds and see if I speed up. But really, I'm more concerned with group size and consistency on the chrono. So just so I'll be able to more easily predict where it's going to hit down on target, because that's all that really matters in a PRS match. You're moving around, breathing so hard. You just want to make sure that if you pull the trigger when your reticle is on target, everything else is going to work right, and trying to eliminate as many variables as possible. So getting out here and doing practice every weekend definitely helps build my confidence. Looks like the storm is maybe coming later tonight, but we got some awesome clouds for southwest Oklahoma over there in the distance. Well, I'm going to get loaded up and call it a day for this one. Thank you for hanging out with me for a few minutes. Do let me know if you got anything else that I should take a look at before I go into reloading and getting all that done for this new chamber. I really do appreciate everybody that hangs out with me for a few minutes. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. See you on the next one. Bye.